am so close, yet so far from being caught up with these recent reads. I can see the end. I can see the end, but I'm not there yet. But I will be soon. The first book that I'm going to talk about today is this book right here. This is the second book in the Jack Sparrow series, the Siren Song, which is about mermaids. No, not mermaids, sirens. I get them mixed up, you know, they're so similar. One's more evil than the other. Whatever. I don't know why I love books when they involve sirens, mermaids, any creature of the sort. They're just so fascinating. Half the time the books suck, but like it's so interesting. There's so much you can do when you have them in your story. Sirens are beautiful but dangerous creatures. They often lure sailors with their voices, and more often than not, a shipwreck will soon follow. Drowning, death, destruction. Fun stuff. So Jack Sparrow and his crew of misfits pretty much find themselves in this predicament. And of course everyone in Jack Sparrow's crew is being affected by the sirens' voices except him. He's not getting any of these effects, so he's watching his crew lose their minds, and just because he's Jack Sparrow, he ends up saving the day and everyone's okay. Woo. The storytelling in this second book is weaker than the first one, and things don't seem to be moving forward as a series. It felt almost at a standstill, but even with that, you still get Jack's dialogue and witty banter with the crew, and it really just makes up for the slowness of the plot, I guess. I will say this like I've said a million times before, do not read this series unless you're a big Pirates of the Caribbean fan, unless you love Jack Sparrow like I do. It's more for really young kids. Next, I will be talking about a very controversial topic on Booktube as of late. That is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, a play by Jack Thorne. So, me talking about how disappointed I was with this makes me a little nervous, but I'm going to tell you my thoughts regardless. I still like Harry Potter, I just not this poorly written cash grab of a play. If I can take this back to Target and get my 15 bucks back, I would like that. People keep saying to look at this differently because it's a play. You're not going to get the vast world of Harry Potter that you normally would. But I've read plays and this is still not a well-written play in my eyes. It reads like fan fiction. Poorly written fan fiction. I get it that it's probably fan service, but if you're going to market this as the 8th Harry Potter book, the 8th story, 19 years later, then you need to do a better job and not tell a story with badly written characters that don't seem like the characters that they were in Harry Potter. Ron feels like his father author. Ginny is a cardboard cutout of the films, and why'd they do that to Hermione? And then Harry he was not Harry. And yeah, he's older, they're all older, but did not feel like Harry Potter. On the plus side, I really did like Scorpius and I did enjoy Draco. I will say that the play did make me cry during flashbacks, which seemed to happen left and right, and those were the only parts that got emotions out of me, but those were old parts of Harry Potter, things that were already done. It's not new and it was not needed. And then there's the plot of the story in general, how everything revolved around time travel, the time turner. It didn't make sense. The way the time turners was used just left me with so much confusion, and I didn't like it. And then there's the big reveal at the end. The reveal, if you read this, you know the reveal. And why? What the hell? No, that's disgusting. I don't know. By the time I finished reading this, I was laughing at the absurdity of it because I can't take this seriously. I cannot take this seriously as Harry Potter canon. I want a time turner so that I can use it, go back in time, and stop myself from reading this. What I will say though is that this would probably be a really entertaining play to see live, if only to see Harry Potter in front of my eyes again. But that's it. I still don't like this story. No. Next, I have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I've seen so many adaptations of Frankenstein, and I love most of the films that I've seen. I did not expect the source material to be so different. Damn you, Hollywood, you've been lying to me this whole time. I still love all the old Frankenstein movies, but this was just so different from what I was expecting. A little backstory on Mary Shelley. She wrote this when she was 18. 18. How does someone write such a beautifully haunting story at 18? That just makes me want to give up on life because I'll never be that awesome. No, I won't. And for those of you that don't know, Frankenstein is about a young scientist, Victor Frankenstein, who goes against all that is wrong and creates a creature. And this creature is pretty much doomed the second it awakens. I'm still not sure how I feel about Frankenstein. Or at least I almost admired him in the beginning of this book. He was so determined to unlock all the answers and to do all that couldn't be done before, but once he succeeds, he turns cowardly and he runs away. To show no sympathy to what might as well be his child, it's his creation, he made it. You sort of begin to despise him. And oh, how I felt for the monster when you're constantly being referred to as it, monster, demon, mistake, creature, and all the while being completely outcasted and isolated. You just can't help but sympathize for him in a way. If you bring something into this world, reject it, look at it in disgust, what do you think is going to happen? Just because something is different, does it not deserve a chance? The monster does terrible things, unforgivable things, and you sort of lose that sympathy as time goes on. But had the monster been given some sort of direction or slight bit of compassion, maybe things wouldn't have ended up as they did. It's kind of tragic and sad, and thinking about it, I'm a little sad. I enjoyed this a lot. It was a little slow at times and did drag a bit, but overall I enjoyed it. I'm glad I read it. And next I read Dune by Frank Herbert. I cannot believe I read Dune. I thought this book was going to sit on my shelf for years and not be read, but here I am today to tell you that I read it. I'm so happy that I read it. I feel so proud. I buddy read this with Sue from the restricted section and Adam from Memento Mori. I will link them down below. For those of you who don't know, Dune is the story of young Paul, who is the heir to the Duke Leto, and we follow him and his family as they try to keep control of this planet called Arrakis. I haven't seen any of the film adaptations. I don't know how it's pronounced. This planet is incredibly important though, because it is the home to none other than the spice. What is the spice, you're wondering? The spice is a very valuable and important natural resource for these people. It's almost like a drug. The people use it to expand their mind and just to gain more knowledge. The story itself feels like a giant struggle for power. What a ride. This book had me completely immersed in this world. There are so many layers going on here. You have politics, you have religion, ecology. I couldn't help thinking that the Freemen were badass, and I loved hating the evil Harkonnens, and I was cheering for Paul at the end when he was riding the sandworm into battle, and the sandworms, oh my gosh, I freaking love the sandworms. I had so much fun with this book. Reading this though, I couldn't help but start to compare Dune to our world a little bit, just slightly, particularly the spice. It's this natural resource for these people, and without it, everything would probably crumble. They rely on the spice for knowledge, technology, transportation, all of these things. If they didn't have it, like I said, chaos and destruction. And comparing that to our world, I kept thinking about oil. You know, oil is our natural resource. If we didn't have oil, chaos and destruction. Probably doesn't mean anything, but I kept thinking about that. Also, Dune is known as the sci-fi book that pretty much inspired everything. Reading this, Star Wars. You can tell that Star Wars just was completely inspired by Dune. I want to go and rewatch Star Wars films now just to see everything that was taken from Dune and put in Star Wars, because you just can't help but see the similarities. I really enjoyed this a lot. I would definitely consider myself a Dune nerd now, and I can see myself continuing with the series, maybe a book a year kind of thing. It's a lot to read and it's very dense, but it's worth it, and I really like it a lot. If you haven't read Dune, read it. The last book that I'm going to talk about today is Neon Fever Dream by Eliot Peper. I was asked by the author's friend, I believe, if I wanted to read this, and I said yes because the author lives relatively close to where I do, sort of, and also because this book takes place at Burning Man. I've never read a book that takes place at Burning Man before, so I really wanted to read this. For those of you who don't know, Burning Man is this annual event, week-long event that takes place at Black Rock City in Nevada. It's where people come together to explore different forms of self-expression, I guess you could say. You've got people building sculptures and art cars, putting on performances, so much is going on. And I always thought that it was so strange that it takes place, you know, in Nevada, this really hot desert area, and it just, I don't think I personally would ever want to go, but it just is such an interesting event. I don't know. So now that you know that, Neon Fever Dream is the story of Asha. She is a martial arts instructor in Oakland, and she is whisked away for the weekend by a friend to Burning Man. Little does she know there's this sinister plot taking place there, and her friends are kind of caught in the middle of it. I unfortunately, and I'm really sad to say that, I didn't enjoy this book. I liked that it was set at Burning Man, but that was all I liked, and that's all I honestly think that this book has got going for itself. The plot and the characters fell so flat, it just doesn't feel like it's worth discussing. The biggest problem that I had with this was that I felt that the author was too busy telling me the story, not showing me the story, and things went by too fast, and things did not really connect in a way that they should have. Not a fan, not really a fan. But if you are interested in Burning Man and want a look at that, you know, festival, you might like this, but you know, just not my cup of tea, sadly. And those are all the books that I will be talking about today. If you guys have read any of these, have thoughts and opinions, want to talk to me, we could chit chat, leave a comment, all that fun stuff. I hope you have a wonderful day, or ow, I just hit myself on the light. Damn it! I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye.